Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard and welcome to LifeSpa, where we prove the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with modern science. And today I want to talk about sleep. And one of the major causes of poor sleep is stress. And the more stress you're under, the more exhausted you become. And the more exhausted you become, the less able you are to actually sedate your own nervous system. And it allows your nervous system then to stay sort of wired for sound, and you become overstimulated. So in other words, people think, well, I just can't settle down. I've got too much energy. That's why I can't sleep. That's not the reason why you can't sleep. The reason why you can't sleep is because you don't have enough energy to sedate your own nervous system to actually give you the deep sleep that you desperately need. Studies show, and I've written articles about this, show that before you go to sleep, right before you actually dip into sleep, your body produces a surge of energy called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's 3 phosphates in one molecule of adenosine. Adenosine is the sedative. So there's a surge of this energy that the body uses to give you the adenosine to sedate the nervous system in this deep sleep. But if you don't have that ATP surge, then cortisol levels stay kind of, amped up, and you have a difficult time getting into sleep and then definitely getting into the deeper sleep. So I also find that one of the tools to help us calm the nervous system down and rebuild and rejuvenate the nervous system are things like yoga and breathing and meditation, particularly meditation. Meditation, everybody knows, is such a good thing for us to do, but I find my patients either don't feel like they're making really progress, they don't feel like they meditate well, and it's not really easy for them, and they're not really sure how to do it, and they end up just not doing it on a regular basis. Although when you look at the science, it's just like overwhelming, this benefits of meditation to rejuvenate, to help you sleep, to kind of even extend your life, even to help cut your cardiovascular risk and your diabetes and your blood sugar and your blood pressure. I mean, the list sort of does go on and on and on. But why is it this thing to just turn down the volume and sedate your nervous system? Why is it so hard for us to do? So that's what we're going to kind of dive in today a little bit. We're going to talk about some Ayurvedic tools and some new kind of biotech tools to help give you that ability to compose yourself. I wrote an article about, meditation being a biohack for this crazy culture, this fast-paced culture that we live in that is so revved up that we can't find the ability to be still and calm, while our ancestors who lived in old-growth forests and in resonance with the natural cycles of nature, that internal silence was just, just part of who they were. Just like the animals, they're naturally in sync with these circadian rhythms and the ebb and flow of nature. Well, we lost that. And meditation was sort of a hack for us to get it back, even though we live in a city with all the craziness going on. And that's why it's maybe more important now, today, than ever before. So how does that affect your sleep? Well, if you're exhausted and you don't have regular rejuvenation, which comes from when the nervous system is still. When the nervous system is still, the lake is calm. When the lake is calm, the body can see clearly the bottom of the lake, all the junk down there. The body can recognize problems as the problems and begin to heal itself. But if you're stressed out going 90 miles an hour, it's kind of like a hurricane effect, right? The winds of the storm are dangerous. You don't want to be in there. But if you're in the eye of the storm, it's calm for that short period of time. And that inner experience of composure and calm is where we should hail from. And that's what this whole thing is about. Getting deep sleep to pull back the bow, deeply rebuild and rejuvenate. Getting meditation to help kind of reboot the crazy stress and all the incoming and all the frenetic, thinking and monkey mind thinking, and instantly turn it back into an experience of silence, right? I wrote an article called The 1 Minute Meditation, and you can look it up on my website. It's a simple 30 seconds of Bhastrika breathing with 30 seconds of being still. That simple. Really, really easy. So let's talk about, as we kind of dive into this topic a little bit, let's talk about the stages of sleep. There's something called N1 sleep, which is light sleep. Light sleep is when the brain waves go from more of a beta sort of alert state to an alpha, a calm state, to a theta state, which is more of a drowsy, deeper kind of sleeping state. And then you go into what's called N2, which is a deep light sleeping state, where what's happening there is the body is still very much in the lighter stages of sleep. The vata, the nervous system, is still settling down in the first two stages of sleep. It's a time where the senses are being pulled in and you're starting to become less aware of your sensory experience, which is kind of cool. And then that sets the stage for N3 sleep, which is deep sleep. And that's what we call slow wave sleep, where the delta waves are produced. And that's where the body is involved in deep repair, rejuvenation, detoxification, and regeneration of the body, really, for that matter. And then there's N4 sleep, which is the REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep. This is a pitta cycle. The deep sleep is a kapha, rebuilding, rejuvenative cycle. And N4 is a pitta cycle where there's its cognitive repair. It's cognitive digestion, where the brain is involved in thinking, and the eyes are moving, and it's sort of a reviewing of all the things that went on in the day and kind of sorting things out and to hold on to or get rid of, and kind of that pitta activation of metabolizing thoughts and memories and putting them in their appropriate place. And that's what the 4 stages of sleep are all about. Because we have a circadian disruption, most of us live in a disrupted state. There was a study done at CU Boulder where they took a bunch of people who were healthy, supposedly Boulder types, and they measured their circadian rhythms, and their cortisol levels were just surging at night. They should be declining. Their melatonin was actually increasing during the day. That should only increase at night. And they were just sort of wired for sound all day long. So they took them up into the mountains, no phones, no cell phones, no light, in bed with the sun, up with the sun. They reset their circadian rhythms with their biological clocks in 100% in just 1 week, which is sort of amazing, right? They did another follow-up study where the weekend was a 69% restoration of the circadian rhythms with the biological clocks, reset them in a weekend. So you can do that yourself with a no artificial light weekend. Turn off the Wi-Fi, turn off your cell phone, and just, you turn off the lights, no electricity, use candles, and just see if you can do a weekend of, going off the grid, and see if that can reset your circadian rhythms. I also use something called low-dose melatonin, which is microdosing of melatonin. Melatonin is a molecule, not a hormone, because it doesn't suppress your own production. It actually encourages it. I did a podcast with a melatonin researcher named Paula Witt, and she told me that, and she's a researcher on that, and it's quite amazing. If you want to watch that podcast, it's really amazing. I'm having her back again for some of the latest research. She did research showing that melatonin can reverse osteoporosis and reverse breast cancer. Sort of mind-boggling research, really. So I invite you to watch that. But taking small doses of melatonin, by research by a guy named Al Louie, found that it can be just as effective as higher doses, but you find that precise individual dose just for you, which is critical. So I always start with 0.1 milligram. It's 1 drop of our low-dose melatonin. Take 1 drop for 5 nights, then 2 drops for 5 nights, and 3 drops for 5 nights. Increase the dose till you get to a dose that works for you. Once you get there, stay on it. If it starts to not work, because melatonin will encourage your own production, don't take more, take less. Wean yourself back off of it. That's the beauty of understanding how this molecule that connects your biological clocks and nature's circadian rhythm really works. It's not a drug, a hormone to put you asleep like most people think. It's a molecule that connects biological clocks and nature's circadian rhythms, right? Also, herbs that I use to give the body the energy it needs. We have something called Sleep Easy, which has Brahmi and ashwagandha and skullcap and passion flower, herbs that give you that deep, deep, deep rejuvenation, so you have the ability to calm yourself down and go to sleep. Also, being outside and getting morning sun, all of them make a difference. There's also the high-tech part of this. A lot of folks just can't figure out how to meditate, and that affects their sleep. Well, there is a company that I've been using for many, many years, and it's called Muse. It's a headband that actually measures your brain waves, and you put it on like this. I did a podcast with one of the co-founders of this, and you actually can watch that podcast, and you put this on, and then you go to their app, and it has hundreds and hundreds of meditations, and it gives you it trains your brain to actually get more biofeedback. So if you're in your meditation and it's sort of guiding you and you're listening to raindrops, as you kind of become more stressed, the raindrops will start to get louder, and then that'll train you to become more calm again. And they have all these tools that are research upon research to show that you can actually train yourself to meditate, train yourself to get deep rest. It can be used for mental focus. It can be used for sports performance. It's kind of a really cool biofeedback tool, and they have just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different programs to actually kind of help your brain train how to rest your brain, how to rejuvenate your brain, how to focus your brain, how to stay calm in performance. So many different tools. So I highly recommend looking at that. They've got really good science behind the Muse, something that to also look at, particularly if you just can't meditate. It doesn't work for you. Then let something guide you through that process that's got studies behind it, that's well documented. And of course you can look at your results. So every meditation, and look at your brain waves and look at your blood flow to different parts of your brain. It's a really cool thing, particularly if you need it for sleep, or you need it as a training tool for meditation, or just training your body to know that when I'm under stress, I can go into a calm place. I don't have to go into the fight or flight place. All right, you guys. So there you have it. Whole article about this. Read it. It's at LifeSpa.com. If you're at LifeSpa.com and you're watching this video, please subscribe to our newsletter so you get this information on a regular basis, and also check out our Ayurvedic store on the way out. And if you're watching this on any of the social platforms, just subscribe and like and follow. And we'll see you again. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Hi, everybody. I just want to take a minute and tell you what we do here at LifeSpa.com. I've been in practice now for 40 years, 38 of them have been practicing Ayurvedic medicine full-time. For the last 20 years, I've been writing articles and doing videos on the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with the modern science. If something's been around for 1,000 years, still practiced today, and you have modern science to prove it, boy, I really feel like that's something we should all be taking a look at. And that's what we do at LifeSpa.com, and all that information is for free. So just go to LifeSpa.com and search in your health topic, and you'll get the information, the article that you need, hopefully that will help you. While you're there, check out our Ayurvedic store. You can get there through LifeSpa.com, or go to store.lifespa.com. And there we have all of our organic Ayurvedic herbs, organic skincare line, more books, tapes, knowledge that we give you is all there at our store. All of our cleansing kits are there in our store. All of our herbs are whole herbs with the natural occurring microbiome, the way it came out of the soil. And that's critically important, because if I took the bugs out of you, you'd be completely different. We take the bugs away from a plant, like sterilizing and making an extract or spraying your food with pesticides, you lose significant benefit of that plant. And that's why we use the whole plant with the natural occurring microbiome. So check us out, learn more about what we're doing here at LifeSpa.com, and we'll see you again.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.